So there's a couple things from my childhood that just keep on coming back. I went back and I watched my videos where I started going into details about my child abuse. Those are Child Abuse 101, Child Abuse 102. That's the name of those videos. I just kept on getting off on tangents, man. It's like, it's scary trying to go back to that place when you spent your whole life trying to forget it. But two things that really just keep on coming back that are just so scary, like they were so impactful on me. A few things. When my mom, we used to hear my mom and stepdad arguing, and you would hear her yelling, "Ow, don't do that to me, ow." And then you hear stuff, it sounded like stuff got thrown across the room, and then you'd hear this, and then you hear bang, bang, and then you'd hear something hit a wall, and then right? So all this weird stuff, so you're scared as a little kid. That probably started when I was about 7, I would imagine. I don't know, who knows? And then being brave enough or curious enough, which it was probably curious, probably both, to sneak over and look and see. And I remember being so transfixed, I was glued. I couldn't pull away because I couldn't believe what I was seeing, because what I was seeing completely went against what I was hearing. I mean, 100%. It was you already had an assumption and a picture in your mind of what was going on. And then when you put your eyes on it and you see, I mean, it's amazing. And it's probably the biggest lesson I've ever had in my life as far as what a human is capable of. To look in and hear her going, "Don't hit me," while she's hitting the wall, and then go, "Ow," while she's throwing something else, and then going, and making these noise and literally fabricating a situation. I couldn't believe it. I mean, I really couldn't believe it. That, my mom really fucked my head up, dude. Bad. Big time. Because now I can just remember being a little boy and seeing the discrepancies between what she would say. And I just remember I think that might have been the first thing that really started happening. And then I have a feeling that was one of the first things. And then the next things was when she would make me, and I don't know if I'm clear on that, because I'm playing this through my head and it's a whole storyline. I feel like I've said a million words. When her and my stepdad would get in arguments in another room and it was bad, you would hear shit. But what she was doing was she was in there pretending, setting the scene, I mean, it would get to the point where, I saw her slap herself. I saw her do, it's just unbelievable. It's unreal. And I've seen that behavior in these women growing up. Since then, I've been around a lot of fucked up people, dude. But what I'm saying is these women have a strong tendency because they've been coddled their whole lives, everybody's so scared. You know, they put their kid gloves on when they got to deal with a woman because they're so scared they might upset something, you know. It's like the whole race thing, you know. It's like there's all these races, but the only races we got to put a fucking hand glove on is black people. It's like, what the fuck, dude? It's just fabricated, what I'm saying. It's all fabricated. It's all somebody's fabrication, you know? Just like my mom's story. Stories of abuse. Looking back now, I can't believe my stepdad didn't just fucking punch her the fuck out. She's a crazy fucking bitch, man. She needed to get punched out. She needed her ass set straight. And it didn't happen. She didn't get it. She did not get abused by a man. That's why she fucking took it out on me. You know? She needed that fucking hand put on her ass. Hard too, bud. Because she was a bitch. A lying, manipulative motherfucker, bud. So it was that, like, that just keeps on coming back to me. Like, I just, and I think why that keeps on coming back to me, because it's just a perfect example of how that dissonance starts, you know? Because she would come, what she would do, guys, this is why this is so important, because what she would do is she would, so before I ever looked, right, and saw what would happen, what would eventually happen, these fights would go on for however long they would go on for, 20 minutes, an hour, I don't know, I can't remember. But eventually my stepdad would get out of the house and leave. Well, my mom would come in, and of course she had makeup on, so of course she looked crazy with makeup just streaming down her face, and I mean, just looking crazy, dude. Crazy. Like the end of the world. Right? And I remember just grabbing me and my brother, going, it's gonna be okay, Jesus loves us, and you know, just playing this huge game. And I just remember being so confused. Like, as I'm talking about it now, I'm like reliving it, because I've never even been able to go this deep or feel this close to being in that situation again, because of the immense fear it used to, and just, I mean, just even thinking about it would make me want to puke. But so she would come in. So not only were we traumatized, afraid because of all the noises, but then she would come in looking like a fucking clown from outer space and babbling about Jesus and God and everything was going to be okay and that we were hers. And I mean, the attachment, dude, like, she was sick. She was extremely sick, and she brought that sickness on me and my brother. And held us close and tight. I remember so tight, and just Jesus. And I would just be so scared. And like, I guess as a kid, after the first few times, I remember having conversations with her, like, as a little child, man, maybe 8, 9 years old, I don't know. And just like, Mom, you know, I'll defend you. He doesn't have to come back. You know, let's not let him back in. He doesn't have to come back. Oh, honey. Oh, you're my little man. You're my little man. Oh, honey, Jesus loves you. I know, honey. But he would just keep on coming back. So I think that's what made my mind, like, my curiosity finally take over and like go. And that's when I watched. I remember I was in like a little corner. I peeked around, and like, we had so much shit. And we lived in like an old A-frame cabin. You know, the A-frame cabins? We lived in an old A-frame cabin with like a little 2-story addition put on the front. So I was peeking around a corner, and man, that's when my whole life just, I can't say it changed, because it changed when we would hear these arguments. It changed when I saw this stuff. It changed my life. That's what I'm saying. My life has been nothing but but trauma. Trauma. So much trauma, like you don't even know what trauma is anymore. Everything's trauma. Everything. You've had so much trauma. I mean, I've had days where I've had so many traumatic things. It's like, I mean, I don't even know how to explain it. I'm not trying to make a mountain over a molehill. I'm trying to expose the molehill for what it is. You know? I mean, the trauma's bad, guys. It's bad. Like, to go through that and then to have enough common sense and curiosity as a child, like things just weren't adding up. Why is this man, Mom, if things are this bad and we're traumatized and you're traumatized and we're all crying and we're all fearing for our lives constantly, and this man is so bad, why is he constantly being allowed in the house? You know, and then probably seeing how my mom would kiss his ass when he'd come back, and you know, those games that those women play, man, and seeing and being a smart kid and being, you know, man, yeah, and then finally having the bravery and the confusion and the cognitive dissonance got so bad that I had to see what was going on for myself, and I looked. And I know my relationship with my mom changed that day, you know? My relationship with my mom changed that day when I saw that. And I think she knew, you know, I think she knew I saw it, because I think she tried pulling that same thing. After that argument, she came to me and my brother, and I was probably just sitting there stone cold. You know, God knows, but I was different, and she saw it, because she's a sensitive. She can feel energies. She knows. She's very highly intelligent, very highly sensitive, and that's probably when my abuse really took off with her, because she had to get me back on her program. So I'm going to end that there. There were a couple things that I want to go into, but I think that's good just to give an overview of how freaking scared to death I was of my mom's manipulations and how nasty it was. And that's just the beginning.